Hello, and welcome to the first video that I've ever done here at Needleit Studio. What I've got here in front of me is a free motion quilted felt brooch. The reason I did this video was to be an add-on to a class that is currently for sale on Craftsy, and the class is a PDF file on how to make this brooch and assorted different styles and shapes. And I thought when making the pattern that it would be really helpful to have a little video on one of the last steps, just to see the progress. It's so much easier than to explain in words. So that's what I'm doing here. So basically what you've got here is some craft felt, free motion stitched, metallic on the top, just the basic sewing thread that was in the bobbin, and you just kind of design a pattern as you're stitching. Probably have a little idea ahead of time what you're going to do. Sandwiched in between the two layers of felt is a little piece of handmade fabric. I had it left over for some evening bags that I made. So basically, if you've got any little scraps around, something that's shiny, blingy, fun, would be a great addition, because after this gets melted away, then it'll show through. So anyway, yes, that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be melting this. It's craft felt, so it's all synthetic, and melts great, becomes really durable. Here's an example of another color, and from a distance it's amazing. It looks so intricate. It looks like it might have been, some people say, crocheted or some unusual form of stitching, and really durable. But basically all it is craft felt that's been melted after it's been stitched, and I make brooches out of these and various other things. Anyway, once you get it to the stage where all the stitching is, I've trimmed away the excess, and now we're going to melt it. And we're going to be using one of these tools, which some of you are probably familiar with. Pretty popular at card making for embossing powders and such. Available at all your local craft stores. What it does is just pump out very hot air. The tip gets hot, so you must be careful. And there's no worries about temperature or anything. It's just an on-off switch. So easy to do. You control the intensity just by the distance that you hold it next to the item that you're melting. Now, one thing you have to remember is this is synthetic craft felt. That means when it melts, it's very stinky, lots of toxins, not nice to breathe. So you need to do this in a ventilated area. So nice open window, maybe a little fan, or you could save it for a nice day outdoors, whatever works, but you must have ventilation. You'll notice it. It even leaves a little tacky mouth taste. So, okay, so here we go. First thing we're going to do is we're going to just, I like to touch up the perimeter of the felt with the heat, and then do one side and then the other. And usually I'll rotate back and forth and get tighter and closer up with the heat, trying to control the burn, the melt. You don't have to worry, obviously, about the metallic thread. It will not melt, and the felt melts a lot quicker than just your sewing thread, so you don't have to worry about that either. But do not touch the center areas, front or back, till the end, till we get everything else done. So I'll do it in stages, and we'll talk as we go. But most importantly, you'll get to just see how the action is. And sometimes it takes a little longer because maybe the felt is extra thick. You might buy it all from one store, but weirdly enough, some might be thicker than others. So it just takes a little longer. So less is more, because once it's melted away, that's that. You can't put it back. So you just judge. You can practice on some scraps, and you get the hang of it. Alright, now of course, obviously, since we're working with a heat tool, you want to keep your fingers away from it. So I use one of these, You can use tweezers, anything that works for you. And then as I do an area, then I'll just move it around and work on the area that was covered. Alright, so first things first, we're just going to tidy up the edge. This may be something that you can't notice right away, but it's necessary for the first step. Here we go. Okay, so that was easy. Now, we're going to work on the perimeter, front and back. You'll notice as you start to heat it and melt it, it will tend to curl. You can work that to your advantage, going back and forth, getting it to curl the way you want. Or you can also, when it's warm, put it against a surface, use your hands, and dome it, twist it, do whatever it is that you want. And it will stay once it's cooled in that position. Alright, it may be slow at first and hard to see on the screen the initial process, but as it really starts to melt and create this cobwebby effect, you'll see. Also, the color will darken as it melts. So playing with different colors of felt, you'll find some will look nice darkened and some may not turn a great color. So again, you play around. Here we go. Alright, so it's still warm and I'm just gently doming it. This is going to be a brooch, so if it's domed a little bit, then it will sit nicely with the pin back behind and you won't be able to see it. Anyway, if you could feel this right now, you might be able to hear it. It's quite sturdy, quite stable, as opposed to the softness previously. And we haven't touched the centers, but it's cobwebbed very nicely. Now we're going to touch up the back just to get a little bit of firm surface for gluing, and then we're going to do the front. Now the front is hiding the little jewel of fabric, so we want to be slow and steady here. Here you can see that a cobwebby effect was achieved, and we want to do that with care, because again, if you burn too much away, it can't be put back, and little remnants and traces do look really cool left there. Okay, so we're just going to touch up the back to make it firm. Does not take a lot at all. Okay. We're going to do the front now. Now, you might have noticed me doing sort of a stabbing technique, so quick little bursts, getting close and pulling away. That works really well to control the melt, so you can try that yourself. Okay, so it's all warmed up again, so if it's lost its shape, I can just give it a nice gentle dome. And I don't know if you can see in the focus, but there's little glistening bits of fabric poking through assorted other colors, and it just gives more texture and interest. And the next step to decorating the front will be adding some little jewels, little rhinestones that are self-adhesive on the back, and you use another heat tool. Now the only other thing left would be, you're always going to have backing for your brooch. This pink one that I did earlier, this is just a single layer of the same exact felt, and when the brooch bar gets glued here, you want to be able to cover it over and more glue to give a nice finished look. So this being only one layer though, it's very fast and quick, so you want to be delicate and light when you're heating this up to, again, firm it for durability. So that curled on me, but it's warm still, and see, I can give a little bit of a stretch, flatten it out, and now it's a durable, melted, has some resilience, and that will be a nice cover for hiding all the glue and the pin back. These are amazingly lightweight, so comfortable, and really durable. In fact, I've left them on clothing and they've gone right through the wash and come out looking the exact same. A lot of fun to do. So the next step is going to be showing you a little bit of another style that I melted and how you can get the curl to work to your advantage. And then we'll do some very short little thing about adding on the jewels. Thanks. Stay tuned. Okay, here's another style. This is a flower, metallic threads again, and because it's a flower and there's all these petals, I like to try and make this curl up and down, kind of a sunflower effect. So I'm going to work on it and you'll just get another chance to see the melting process. Okay, hopefully I edited some of that out because that took a while. So it's still warm, I can manipulate it, but you could see what I was doing there. As it was melting, leaves were curling, going different ways, so you can just work it back and forth until you get the look that you like, or you can bend them yourself when they're still warm. Now this is already immediately rigid and cooled. And there's the front cobwebby effect. The back is toughened up, ready for a pin back. And again, it's just another example of the different stitches you can do. And this is a rectangular one, and I'll do a little bit of that and just edit in a clip or two so you can see how that goes. Hang on. Okay, now it's still warm, So I'm just bending it back. Hot in a few places, be careful about that. And I can already feel it firming up, cooling down, and it's going to be permanent. Unless, of course, you heated it up again and reshaped it. So there you have it, another style. And if you were watching, you might have noticed that the colors change a little bit as they're melted. So play around with the different colors of felt that you can have access to and see what happens. Play around with how quick they melt depending on your tool and how close you need to get to them. Sometimes if I'm going really fast, I'll get almost right up to it. Other times I want more control, so I keep it away. You have to play around with it yourself, but just make sure you're in a well-ventilated area and have some fun. These are really cool. Amazing little pieces. Okay, so next I'm just going to show you a real short clip on how to attach some jewels for a little extra bling. Okay. So you can see these have already had some bling attached. I can store mine in a little container here. Keeps all the colors separate. Each one of these has a little bit of adhesive on the back, which melts when you use a heat tool to apply it. The end of this is just a little concave. It matches the same size as the stones. So you just plug this in. Again, hot tip, be careful. I lay them face down on the table. Pick one up, apply it, little pressure on the front, finger on the back, and I always give it a squeeze. I can feel the heat of it, so I'm just gently pressing down with my nail, making sure it attaches well. Pick up another one. It's hot. The tube on the end of this applicator is the same size as the stone, so it picks it up quite easily. Again, a little bit of pressure. Hot again. Squeezing with my nail, just making sure it's sticking well. You can do as many of these as you want, or none at all. That's your choice. Attach them anywhere. Once they're in contact and the glue is melted really well, they stay on great. And you can have fun. You can match up the colors, do contrasting, and they're cool. Here is a few others. And that's the total picture. The only thing left is to glue the pin back on, finish it with that flat circle of single layer felt, and you're all set. Well, thanks so much. It's been fun. Bye.